What's up, y'all? This is Dre with Bill 206, Brothers United Leadership Development. We're here in Dancing in the Rain Media Studio. This is part of our Build Black Wealth initiative, and we're in the studio with the lovely Tana, one of our Build Black Wealth Incubator Program participants. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. So we're going to jump in and ask a few questions, relax. It's a conversation between two friends, two colleagues in the community that are doing amazing things. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and the work that you're doing. Just tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Yes, I am Tana Yasu, born and raised in Seattle. I'm known as a hairstylist and designer initially, my first career and first businesses, and now I am doing legacy work for my great uncle Joe Brazil, who moved to Seattle from Detroit, Michigan back in the early 1960s.
That's what's up. So did you always want to do, well, it sounds like you do a few things. Sounds like you do design, sounds like you do hair, sounds like you also do some stuff in your uncle's legacy. So did you always kind of want to be an entrepreneur, community activist? Did you always kind of want to do those things, or?
I have always been an entrepreneur. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit since I was a little girl. I would save cans and babysit and do all kind of stuff before I was even in the double digits. So I just attribute that probably to my grandparents, their work ethic, and just how things went down. But then eventually, through school, actually, as a child, when I learned how to braid hair, I was just already even doing braiding hair for family members and friends. And so through high school, I ended up getting into a running start type program. And I went to Renton Beauty School as part of my high school completion. And so by the time I finished school, I was getting my license. I was going to school to get my beauty license or cosmetologist license, and worked in a salon for a few years. And then eventually just branched out and started doing my own thing. And so I had opened up my salon in the early 90s.
Oh, wow. You've been in the industry for a long time, then. That's what's up. What about the community work that you do in the legacy of your uncle? How did you come into that? Did you always see yourself doing that, or how did that come about?
Well, being a part of the community, I've always been I'm just a social person. Probably even, like I say, my upbringing coming up, we would be having cookouts and different things at home. And when I got to an adult, I'd be the one, lighting up the grill almost every weekend and just calling all the neighbors together. And, I was even almost community organizing then, not knowing it. And then even when I had the salon, I would do events out of my salon. And so I got into the legacy work, though, for my great uncle because of, I'll say, something that happened with a person that came and took some intellectual property from my family. And so I needed to step up and be the one to tell the story, because this person came and got a hold of that intellectual property, and then he started going around the town trying to be the Joe Brazil expert, and he had never even met my great uncle. So family got wind of it. We started dealing with that, but at the same time, instead of just waiting for the legal stuff, we decided that we needed to be honoring, protecting, preserving, and keeping that story in our community. My great uncle was a jazz musician and a teacher of jazz music at Garfield High School and the University of Washington. He really helped get those programs going. And so I myself, obviously not a musician, not a man. How am I going to do this work? And I just had to think to myself, I need to get in his shoes some kind of way. He was also a community activist. He started a music school called Brazil Academy of Music, but they also called it Black Academy of Music. And then they used the acronym BAM. So he started even a music school and did community work, So I was like, well, okay, I can't do the music thing. I think I'll jump on. I just wanted to be in his shoes to really figure out how to do this legacy and see what he was going through. And it's been working. It's been working, yeah.
So, yeah, you kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think, if you want to dive into it a little more, kind of what motivates you to continue to do the work that you do, and then who do you do it for and why?
Yeah, it's the joy, the joy of the community, the joy of some of the elders. So what Joe Brazil Legacy has done, I reached out also to some of his students that he taught at the UW, or that they might have been involved with BAM, and these are older folks by now, of course, probably 60s, 70s, So I reached out to them because I needed to know more of the story. I was born in 1970, so I missed out on a lot of that. So I needed to interview the people that have been working with him, and that just the joy that sometimes I'm like, oh, Joe Brazil, I haven't heard that name in 20 years, stuff like that. And then when we do the events, so I organized the musicians, and we started producing events, and just, inviting the community in, and putting up the sign to say, hey, we're doing Joe Brazil Legacy if you're involved. So so people started coming to the events and tapping in, and I've made a roster of folks, and not only even just the elders, we're pulling in the youth, and we're just pulling in musicians now. So now it's a artist movement, right? So the joy of the artists, because what we basically do, we'll raise money through grants, and I'm able to pay these artists to perform, and we do things free for the community, so they enjoy coming and getting this live, awesome entertainment from some of the creme de la creme of our musicians in town, and just the sheer joy, that I see. I love to see the smiles and the dancing and the reminiscing, and so that keeps me
Keep your
going.
Black-led business or organization compliant by learning about our labor ordinance and laws in the city of Seattle. Learn more at www.bill206.com/labor standards.
Sounds like a true legacy, because you're able, especially when you're talking about involving the young people, you're kind of doing the intergenerational thing and exposing people to things and the history, right? Because you're talking about your uncle and then the people who were his students that are now in their 60s and 70s, and so you got this. That is really a legacy. So that's dope. That's
Intergenerational.
dope. Describe your journey towards success, and whatever you define success as, right? Because we know everybody, that's a path to where people are trying to get to, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have a theory on success.
So describe your journey towards success, and what are the biggest lessons you've learned on that journey?
It has been interesting. Patience. I do try to be patient. And just kind of, and also just kind of letting people be, who and what they are. And actually, that was some advice I got from someone when I kind of had something to say about a situation, and this person was like, you know what, you just got to let people be who they are, just let it go. And so that clicked, and I was like, okay, so I've learned to work with folks. I let them do their thing, and if I find most times it is a good connection, and we get the thing done. I try not to ask. A major method of my success is when I call people in to do something, I don't ask them to do more than one thing, one, maybe two things. I don't try to get folks to just do too much, because that's when I find, balls get dropped and miscommunications happen and misunderstandings. So it's like, I just need you to come do this. And then, come do that. And so that's been a major success for me along the way. Just don't ask people for too much.
Yeah, and the more people you get involved is great. And then, like I said, if everybody does one thing, you got 10 people involved. It's a huge network of partnerships, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody got one thing to do.
Many hands.
If something does get dropped, it's 1 out of 10 instead of somebody that can't. Yeah, 2 or 3 things. Yeah, that's
many hands make light work.
Yeah, that's solid advice. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Once again, this is Dre with Build 206 Brothers United Leadership Development. This is part of our Build Black Wealth Incubator Program.
Build is back with another year of our Build Labor Standards Initiative. Join us this year as we focus on the Black community members who are in the arts and entertainment category as we dive into the major ordinances within the city of Seattle. Join us at upcoming events and visit our website to learn more. Visit www.build206.com/labor standards to learn more today.
Welcome back. This is Dre with Brothers United Leadership Development. We're in the Dancing in the Rain Media Studio, and this is part of our Build Black Wealth initiative. And once again, I'm in the studio with the lovely Tana, one of our Build Black Wealth Incubator Program participants, and she is representing the Joe Brazil Legacy. Let's jump back in. And this is probably a good question. I kind of think I know what you're going to say, but I really want to give you an opportunity to answer it. What resources do you think are needed in our community to see success, start businesses, etc.? Like, what kind of resources do you feel like is most needed?
We need land, we need money, and we need to be left alone to do our own thing and take care of ourselves. We don't need people coming from the top down telling us what we need. We know what we need, and we need that space and time to do it.
So resources, time, to build our relationships and figure out how we're going to barter and leverage the resources, and give us our stuff and let us do work our magic.
Yeah, something that people talk about, Black Wall Street often, and they use that as an example. And to me, what I hear, it sounds like they almost think, oh, these people just, came together and just opened up these businesses in this town. But they don't. I did a little research on my own and found out that they had actually gotten reparations, and they got land, and then they found out that that land had oil. And so their whole, they got the land, that resource, that commodity of oil, and this is what really sparked the foundation of that, neighborhood becoming, so lucrative. And so land, we need more than just funds. We also need our own land.
And that's interesting too, because even with the funds that they give, they don't really let you own. It's like, we'll pay your rent, but we're not going to let you go buy a building or a house or whatever, right? You can pay rent, but we're not really going to let you get ownership, which keeps you kind of dependent on to keep coming back, right? You never really can get free from them, because you're dependent, because you don't own nothing. You're just, we're just doing things, and we're doing events and programs and activities, but we don't really own anything. Yeah. So I think that is a key piece of advice, and I think that it will help us be more successful. And I agree, like money, resources, land, that's going to be you can have tons of businesses and tons of different things that happen with those simple resources. So as an entrepreneur, what is one tip or trick that you've learned that helped you succeed? You kind of talked about a few earlier, but I think you probably have a few more.
Yes. Quality. Don't cut corners. I try not to cut corners. I try to do things with quality, and I don't discount myself. I think a lot of times some entrepreneurs feel like, your folks will come, your family will feel like, I'm your family, you should do this or that for free, or, hook me up. And once you get to a certain point, you can put that in your business plan. And when you get to a certain point and you want to do the giveaways, or you even create your own grants or whatever you want to do to give back, but first take care of yourself. I had to learn that lesson, and some family members back in the day got upset because it was like, no, I'm running a business here. I can't, I might do this or that just for a model's sake or whatever, but that's my decision. You don't come and tell me, what my service and products are worth.
All right, give me the hookup. Give me the hookup. Yeah, you gotta.
I don't sell fish hooks.
Yeah, you gotta pay. Right. What advice would you give somebody that's trying to get started in business, community organizing, or whatnot?
The plan. I also feel like the plan. And the business plan is a living document. I feel like so many people, they might write that business plan and they feel like this is the 10 commandments in stone and this is what it is. But the business plan should be, look at it every year, go back, assess. Things might need to be changed. So yeah, be fluid, be the water. Don't just be that rock that can't change, because you have to be able to adapt. We don't know. Now, when the pandemic hit and I couldn't be in the salon anymore, I had to switch gears and I went and got a job at a drugstore because they're not closing, right? So, you do have to be fluid, have some backup plans, some contingency plans, try to plan for as much as anything could happen, so you got to really look at things from all angles, not just.
Yeah, that's solid advice. Yeah, don't be rigid, especially when you talk about entrepreneurship, like everything, or even community organizing. Like, I think a lot of times from the outside looking in, people are, like, oh, this is amazing. But every event I've ran, which has been a lot, it's never gone the way I had it in my head. Right? It's like, yeah, this looks good, but this didn't happen, right? And I think that's also like the quality too. You talked about the quality of products and services and or things that you're trying to provide for the community, and that's one of our mottos at Brothers United Leadership Development is quality over quantity. Like we don't
For
want to.
sure.
We're not worried about serving tons and tons of people. We're not worried about doing a whole bunch of things. But when we do, it's going to be a high level of quality because we feel like our community deserves the best, our people deserve the best, and we're going to try our best to provide that. So that resonates with me. Yeah, so I appreciate your advice. Like you got some good solid advice on.
Well, even knowing, so like I said, I'm not a musician, and before I got involved with Jobbers and Legacy and doing those, larger productions, that's not. It's like the neighborhood barbecue, but it's not. So I call in, professionals. So a lot of times when I'm putting things together for an event, I'm really just dealing with professionals, and I can trust that they're quality people and they have their own brand that they care about,
Right.
and so they're not gonna come and act a fool or do too much. Now I've had my moments. I did have a I call it the 5 heartbeats moment where the band kind of did something weird on the stage.
Like, hold
And
on.
I just kind of had to suck it up and be like, okay, well, how can I flip that into something,
Right.
So, but yeah, it's like I don't know everything, but what I'll do is call in those people that know those things that I don't know, and be willing to pay them what they ask for, and not do the whole bartering and being weird, because that just makes the whole energy weird for the whole situation.
Right. Pay people. Yeah, you can't be saying I don't want to discount myself, but then you're asking people to discount themselves. That's not equitable. And I like the fact that you talked about too, this being fluid with your work plan, with your your business plan or whatever it is, your plans. Like, because things are never going to go exactly the way you expect. There's like you talked about COVID. It's unexpected things happen, so you can't be rigid. You got to be able to go with the flow and keep moving forward towards your goals to that end. Is there anything else you want to add? Or do you have any questions for me?
Well, I want to add that I am so grateful and thankful for Brothers United in Leadership Development, Build 206, for accepting me. I was really happy to become part of the business incubator. I'm getting such great information and camaraderie, and we've even been working together now, on some events, and so I just really love that networking because I I I haven't seen enough of all these community organizations and all these situations really kind of coming together and working together, even though they're not, we should be able to come together and work together and not be fighting amongst ourselves
Right.
over crumbs.
Right.
Right? Now, how much I've even said, if we all write this grant for, say, $10,000, 10 of us get together and write this grant together, and that would be $100,000. So, I mean, how much more could we really accomplish by, coming together, having integrity, and just really staying focused on doing this work? Because this is for the youth. This is for our future generations. And I just really, I have grandchildren now. So now it's like, if you thought I was fighting before, now I have grandbabies in the mix, and
Right.
I don't want barriers in the way. They're too girls.
Yeah, we want to try
So
to make the
they're,
world a better place.
yes,
For them. That's the
it's about them babies.
yeah. And thank you for the shout out for the work that we're doing. Definitely got a good team. Our team is amazing with the work that we do, and that's one of our priorities as well is relationships. Partnerships and relationships, and we have a lot of resources if we could barter, and we don't need as much, try to go out there all the money. Everything doesn't cost money. We have resources, so there is opportunities for us to barter, and then within our team we have different skill sets, so we're able to put on high quality stuff, and not have to worry about chasing the resources and not being able to do things. If we can get the resources, cool, that's great. We're not going to turn them down, but it's also not going to stop us from doing the work that we do, because, as you know, we're resilient, talented people, and that's why I think those relationships are key. And as an organization, we value having those relationships first and foremost over anything else. So I think that's. Thanks for the shout out. We appreciate it. Glad that you're getting value. Other people are getting value. We want to create a safe space for Black folks to have conversations around wealth, because one, like you talked about, there's systematically we've been taught not to trust each other, and then you throw money on top of that, it gets worse, right? And so having a safe space for us to talk, we're trying to sell nobody nothing. Matter of fact, we're trying to inject resources into the community, but also how do we have conversations where our parents may not have known, they didn't want to give us information, they just may not have known. They've been eliminated from these conversations. So how do we do it, and making sure that we're crossing our T's? That's why we're going over budget and reporting, and how you saving your receipts and taxes and all this different business license, making sure people are compliant and different stuff, because that's where we get caught up in crossing our T's and dotting our I's. So making sure that we're having those conversations, because those transcend any business or organization. You got to have these things in place. If you don't, at some point you're going to have some issues.
Whether you're for profit, nonprofit, or just running your household,
Right.
Are your lights getting cut off every other month?
Right. Hopefully not. So how do people get in contact with you? You can look right in the camera, connect with the folks, and let them know how to get in contact with you and the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you. Yes, so I am Tana Yasu. I am the executive director of Joe Brazil Legacy. Our website is joebrazil.org. And we also have a Facebook page, Joe Brazil Legacy, on Facebook. So reach out if you need some musicians for an event or anything.
How do they get in touch with you for, like, if they want to get their hair done or anything else that you offer? How do they get in touch with you? Is there a way for them to, social media or anything for them to hit you up, or you want them to go through the Joe Brazil?
Oh, yeah, for hair care, I still do it. And the best way to reach me is 425-633-0649. That's my phone number.
So make sure you guys hit up Joe Brazil Legacy or Tana for your beauty needs. As you heard, they're open to partnering and collaborating, working together on different types of events and activities. So make sure you hit them up. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate you gracing us in the studio.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
And once again, this is Dre with Build 206, Brothers United Leadership Development. We're here in the Dancing in the Rain Media Studio. This is part of our Build Black Wealth Initiative. Until next time, peace.